Welcome everybody. Today is your lucky day. I am going to go through how I would set up my vocal chain and my acoustic guitar chain. So this is for anyone who's trying to record acoustic guitar or vocal on Ableton. These are to emulate all the plugins that I would normally use, and the plugins I would use cost like nearly $1,000. So I just don't want you guys to spend the money that I do. So I try to make it as close as I can to what I have. And so if you're new here, my name is Luan. I'm a professional musician, content creator, streamer. I graduated from Berkeley with a scholarship. This is a lesson from our free online music school in our content creator section. So we're here to help you guys crush it as easy as possible. You can learn from all my mistakes. Now, all of these presets I'm about to go through and these vocal chains, I have put on a Google Drive. I will put them in a pinned comment on YouTube, and they will also be in the lesson notes from school. You guys can download them and put them into your sessions, and this is how you're going to tinker with it. And I'm going to walk you through why I made decisions around what I did, and then you guys can do whatever you want with it. Obviously, with these presets and everything that I've got going for y'all, they are all determined by your audio interface, the gain structure that you have going, by the way. So gain structure is like how loud is the signal going into your audio interface that's then going into Ableton. And so you guys are going to have to change things around your voice, what microphone you're using, the gain structure, all that stuff. That is stuff that will change. You will not sound exactly like what I do, but hopefully this gives you a framework over what is Luan doing and how is he making his sound work the way that it does. So if you watched the previous video, you should know what a compressor is, what an EQ is, what is reverb, and what is delay. Now, I'm about to go through exactly what I have, and it's sometimes it might look complicated, but it's actually quite simple. So let's just get started. So this is what my vocal will sound like with nothing. All right, here we go. I can, and she comes, and she goes. Pretty average, right? Now this is what it sounds like with it. Anyway, I can, and she comes, and she goes. So it's obviously much better. There's no auto-tune been put on any of this stuff because I can't. Auto-tune is not a zero latency plugin, and everything that I am going to show you how to do is working through zero latency. So if you're wondering if there are better plugins to get, there are, but these are the plugins, especially the ones that are standard. These are all standard with Ableton, and that's why I made sure that you guys will all have them. If you have Ableton Live Standard, you will have all these plugins, and you will be able to use these vocal chains no problem. You literally just copy paste, and it will work. And if it doesn't work, let me know, because then that's another problem I have to figure out for y'all. But I'm pretty sure it will work, 99.99999%. Now, I need zero latency plugins, and so that's why I do what I do, and that's why I've set it up the way I've got it. I can't have lag while I'm live streaming, otherwise I can't monitor what I'm doing while I'm performing. The lag delay distracts me a lot. So everything you're hearing here is all stock, and they all are zero latency, and they're going to allow you to stream no problem. Now, right off the bat, you can hear the difference. Anyway, I can, and she comes, and she goes like no one can. So that's what's happening there on the vocal chain. There's another chain down here called the master, and this is kind of like my little sneaky one that exists. You're going to have this one as well, and we'll talk about it later. But those are the two things that are affecting what the sound's going on. But just the vocal chain on its own, that's the difference. Now, I'm going to go through the order that I do things. Compression is number one. That's what we're going to jump into straight away. So the very first compressor you're going to see here is going to be the compressor right here. Hopefully it's all lighting. Oh yeah, it is recording quite well. Let's do this. I'm quite excited. I got great feedback from the first two videos, so give me feedback and I will do more of these. They're going to be pretty raw, but if you follow these steps, it will help you copy exactly what I do. So the first compressor I jump on here is by the way, there's going to be multiple compressors in one chain. This is a very cool little hack that you can do. If you're a pro producer, you probably need to click away, but this is for us beginners who are just trying to get a good sound. Compressor number 1. This one has a very, very small threshold. So it's like at 17 dB. This one has a 4:1 ratio, very fast attack and very fast release. Now, what this is designed to do is if I'm going to go bap, bap, bap. Oh, wait, no, you can't hear it. Sorry. I'm on the wrong track. So here I go over here. Tap, 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 tap. So you see it just triggered only on those 2 really, really loud ones. Now, I do that because if I accidentally scream into the microphone or I bump the microphone or anything like that, it will mitigate that sound, especially when I'm live performing on Twitch and things like that. It will definitely help out. So that's all that's doing. That is the very first one. That's for like screaming into the mic, doing things like that. It'll help out. The next one that you're going to hear is a gate. So what a gate is going to do, we didn't have this in the previous video, but you can find the gate under your audio effects thing, and then it's under dynamics. Same place where we found the compressor is where the gate is. Now what the gate's going to do is I purposely left my air conditioner on, and if I'm live performing, I leave my air conditioner on because it is stinking hot in the studio, especially during summer in Australia. Right now it's like nearly 40 degrees Celsius outside. It is really, really hot and like 90% humidity. You don't want to live in North Queensland, Australia. It is very, very hot. So what this gate is going to do is it's going to stop this air conditioner from coming through. So here I go. I'm going to turn it off. Here it goes. So you can hear that air conditioner coming through, right? So now the gate is going to stop. It's going to stop any background noise when I'm not talking. Yo, 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 yo. You'll still hear it while I'm singing briefly in the background, but as soon as I stop talking or there's silence on the microphone, I have set the threshold to where the sound comes in, and then it cuts any sound that is below that. So that's what I'm doing right there with that one. So that is essentially what the gate is going to do for us. It's going to cut out any bad noise, especially like if you're playing guitar and singing, whatever, or you're just singing and then you're just like chilling and looking at something. It will just, well, there's a break in your voice. It just stops unwanted noise just bleeding into the microphone. Ideally, you want to have a silent room, but if you can't have a silent room, like you need a fan on you or whatever, that's how you can solve that problem. So that's why I have the gate there. Now, the next one, this is the juicy compressor. This is the compressor that is going on my voice that is going to absolutely slap on the recording. So here you're going to just have a look at how I've got it set up. I have the threshold set to minus 35 dB. My attack is at 34 ms and my release is at 200 ms. So that means I'm going to get quite a few of my plosives, like, not k, but like all those b, 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 those sounds are going to, anything with a bit of air is going to come through a little bit and then it's going to be compressed. So that allows me to articulate my words a little bit better without them being compressed immediately. So be aware of like where your attack range sits. If you feel like you're losing clarity in your lyrics, then either it's a singing issue or it could be a, compression issue where you have the attack set too fast and it's compressing your voice and you're losing those little articulations in your voice that normally would be picked up if you didn't have a compressor just like immediately slapping on. Because when you do those things, there's more energy to the start and ends of your words usually, and especially if it's like a plosive like baby, 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 buh, buh, buh. Like that's going to pump a lot of signal in right away. And so what you want to do is make sure that that doesn't trick the compressor into turning on right away when that's not what you want to be like compressed. Like maybe the lyric, the word doesn't want to be like compressed right away. And so you want to limit the danger stuff. So, yeah, anyway, that's one thing that you can do to stop it, or at least make it sound clearer. So in case you see, that's why I have the 34 ms and the 200 ms. That's what I found works for my vocal pretty clean. There's a knee of 1.7 dB. Honestly, I'm not like super knowledgeable about what the knee does, but I'm pretty sure it just like flattens the curve of how it gets. You don't have to think about it, honestly. There's a makeup gain portion here. One thing I was tinkering with, because I don't ever use the Ableton compressor, but don't push this makeup button this makeup button is going to do some pretty hectic shit. I think it auto makes up gain on what is being compressed. Instead, just pump the compressor up on your output. Just don't hit the makeup button. Just go on the out button. So you can see I don't have the makeup on, and I just have, you know, 8 dB boost over here, and that's what's going to get us that really nice sound here. So I'll turn off that compressor on its own so you'll see what it's doing. And she comes and she goes like no one can. And she comes and she goes and she's slipping through my hands. She's always buzzing just like. So this compressor is what's going to get you that like that richness and that clarity, that professional clarity that's popping through in your vocal. Anyway, so that's the compressor. That's what that one's doing. Now the next one is my EQ. This is how I the last time I EQ'd my voice correctly. That's what I came up with. It changes quite often. Sometimes I'm like, oh, as your ear evolves, you might start doing like subtractive EQ, which is where you take out frequencies, or you might add frequencies instead. But as per my last video when we were looking at EQ, don't overthink it. If you can't hear the difference a lot, then don't stress about it. So this is the only things that are really important is this low cut. And I don't know why we did this. Me and my producer friend, we were working through it, and we just found that it sounded nice to just cut past 12K or something like that. What's this number 7 hits in that? Number 7 is hanging out. Like it does a cut from 16K. So this is what it is with and without the EQ. So like no one can. And she comes and she goes and she's slipping through my hands. She's always buzzing just like. It's pretty cool. Now, it's quite subtle, and whatever it does for you guys, hope it helps. Now, this next compressor, this is the closest I could get to simulating a de-esser, which is something that like cuts off really like your stressed parts of your like really aggressive S's and stuff. There is an actual plugin that you can get, and that's what I would typically use. But because you see my plugins here, where is it at? Waves, I believe. Where you at? De-esser. So you can see I have like this de-esser plugin here. I don't like, if you want to buy one, it's quite handy. It's very cheap. It's a good one, but this, I'm not going to add that in this effects chain, but that's typically what I'm trying to simulate. So if you're noticing that it's like a bit annoying, anyway, you can always just take it out. Anyway, I can. And she comes. So you notice when I said, and she comes, that that part there, that kicked in really, really hard. So I have it set here, this filter type EQ. It's going to compress quite hard at around the 6 kilohertz. I believe that's what it's going to do. If it's not doing that for you guys, then just remove that for you. That's where I noticed where my S's and my de-esser is set. So hopefully it helps you guys and gets a good sound. Now the next one, this is a glue compressor. So it's a so in your compressor settings, these are all stock plugins. There is a compressor here, glue compressor, boom. And I just dragged that over here. I turned it all the way up to the top for attack, middle release, ratios at 4, move my threshold, and then I put makeup gain. Now, if you look here, this is just going to smooth out my vocal here. Neon, neon. Who knows how long, yeah, how long she can go before she burns away. So you see, it gives, I've used it to get like a bit more volume, and it kind of will cut like any hectic stuff that's happening in there. Who knows how long, yeah, how long. So it just kind of like smooths out. So that's a cool little trick. So that's my vocal chain that's happening right there. Nothing crazy. Now you can obviously hear that there is reverb and delay. So I'm going to go in, before we go into the guitar track, we're going to go into what I'm doing on the vocal with reverb and delay. Now, this is a really, really cool concept that I didn't really think of, but me and my producer friend Mads, he's amazing, and he's going to have a producing course up pretty soon for mixing and mastering. He's incredibly talented. He does a lot of stuff with like Imagine Dragons and stuff like that, and Dave Guetta. Like, he is very, very talented, and he will have that course available to English speakers. It's only currently for Romanian people, but he's the one who I like. You know, I hire him to help coach me. He's like my my production coach. So I learned this concept from him. Everything I know is from him. He's amazing. But it's really hard stuff to like really jump into if you're not experienced. But once he has his course available, I will have that linked for all of you guys, and maybe we can convince him to like do like a couple of master classes for us, which would be awesome. But that's in the future. Anyway, let's go. So this concept I didn't really think of, but he showed me this, and I was like, oh my god, this is what you would do. So we're gonna have 2 reverbs set up. One's gonna be a big reverb, which is gonna be like our concert hall reverb. The plugin that I'm trying to simulate is called Valhalla reverb. It's like this big, awesome reverb. It sounds super crisp and nice. This is the closest I could get to it. And then the second reverb is going to be a really short reverb. So it's going to be like as if we were in a room. So one's going to be picking up small reflections as if like we were actually like you were listening to someone in a room, which is like quite intimate. And then the other one is going to be picking up like this echo, and that's going to give you like that big spread that like a lot of people love to have over their vocals. So this is kind of like completely up to you, but I will play the difference for y'all real quick. So I'm just going to take out all of these. By the way, remember how we do our sends and stuff. So remember over here on the vocal, you know, so I got my vocal, this is my chain, and now this is where my sends are. So this is where I can increase the volume of the sends from the reverb. This is my reverb 1, big reverb, reverb 2, small reverb, which is going to be that close and intimate one. And this is my delay. And you can see the sends are down here. A is for big reverb, B is for room reverb, and then C is for delay. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you what the room reverb sounds like so you can hear that first.
But take her anyway I can, and she comes and she goes.
So you can hear how that sounds a little bit like it. I mean, it's kind of nice. It's got this like intimacy that happens within it. It's not like blaring in your ear. So what I would do is I usually get the room reverb first, like the close one.
I can, and she comes and she goes like no one can.
So that's just enough. It's just enough to exist. And you don't have to overthink this. Just like, if you think it sounds cool, then leave it. And it sounds cool to you, and that's all good. You can always change the stuff whenever you feel like there is nothing keeping you locked in on any of these choices. Sound is like something like music production is something that's going to change all the time. You're going to pick up new things. Your ear is going to get better, and you're going to hear things clearer. And you're like, oh, cool, I can do this. I can do this. My compression's better. Like to me, this sounds pretty fine. To a beginner, it probably sounds fine as well. To a professional mixer and masterer, they'll be like, what are you doing to this mix? You're destroying it. So like, each ear is relative. So just, if you like it, trust that you like it, and just enjoy that you're now recording music and having heaps of fun and you think it sounds cool. And then as you get more experienced, if you want to, then you make it better. But right now, done is better than you holding back your whole life from recording. So here we go.
I can.
So that's what that room reverb sounds like. Now let's bring our big hall in. So now I try not to go too hard on the reverb. Sometimes you want it, sometimes you don't want it. I try to have a mixed blend where if I have too much reverb, I'm not going to pick up on the nuances of my voice that are making mistakes while I'm performing or when I'm listening to playback recordings. So that holds me back on improving. So depending on where you're at, if you're trying to improve a lot, then having more reverb is not too bueno. And if you listen to professional recordings, like really great musicians, I mean, I typically listen to like country artists, John Mayer, you know, stuff like that, Ed Sheeran. They don't have a huge amount of reverb. They just have enough to make it feel like you're in that kind of room with them. Anyway, so this is what it sounds. But it like sometimes you go on TikTok and you'll just see like these Omegle singers or whatever, then they go do do do, and it's just like, oh my god, I'm in this gigantic cathedral, and what it's like. If you want to do it, you can do it, but this is what it sounds like. So you want to crank it up and then pull back till it's nice. So this is what I would do. So I crank it up and then pull back.
Go any way I can, and she comes and she goes like no one can. And she comes and she goes, and she's slipping through my hands. She's always buzzing just like neon.
I reckon that sounds fine. Obviously on the higher pitched notes, or that higher frequency is cutting through a little bit. So that's why I kind of bring it, maybe bring it down. Because
through my hands, she's always buzzing just like neon.
I reckon that sounds fine. Same thing when you get to the delay. So you're going to have these. So this is the normal room reverb. It's going to be there. You can see that, you'll see the preset, and I'll show you guys the presets at the end. And then you have the big reverb. This is what it looks like. Honest to God, I just copy pasted what the Valhalla one looked like. Had big size, things like that. Don't overthink this stuff. Like you could put in the stock one, and then like with no default one, just blend it in and it will sound fine. The biggest mistake, everyone, I mean, if you don't know what you're doing with reverb and you don't understand reverb enough, do not waste your time. Focus on music, and then as you get more experienced and your ear gets better, then you can start tackling those things. I would much rather you get more confident with compression and EQ, because those two are like really, really massive to get better, and you learn how to sing with it, learn how to hear it better. It's just universally amazing for mixing and for your production journey. And then so we got our last one, which is delay. The delay is just like, I literally with this delay, I just literally grabbed it, bam. I'm pretty sure that's what we did. We didn't do any changes on the delay. We just blended in how we want it. So if I want to blend it in, remember, all the way up and then bring it down. Don't go in and up. You want to go up, then down. You want to go see what it sounds like ridiculously loud, and then bring it all the way down. And then that will give you great context.
And she comes and she goes like no one can. And she comes and she goes.
I was like, why can't I hear any delay? And it's because I didn't have it on. In case you're wondering, if you can't hear something, always troubleshoot. Is there something? See, I pushed that S and it disappeared. Now, if you look at these little icons, if it's not lit up, that means it's going to be muted. So this is the mute function in Ableton. So if I see my light, this is what I'm talking to, this channel right here, talking channel. So I muted myself just then by doing that. Now I just had that. I'm like, why is this not coming through? I can't hear anything. I'm moving this. Nothing's happening. I was like, this is weird. That's because this was unchecked. So I had to check it back on. All right. That's a cool little trouble thing. If you ever notice something, you're like, what's not working? Double check that the track is actually turned on.
And she comes and she goes like no one can.
I like that.
And she comes and she goes.
It's just like this little like thing at the end that kind of like, ooh, I like that. And that's how I like my delay. I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. Some people love to hear it like this.
Go any way I can, and she comes.
Some people like it that way. You do whatever you want. I like it nice and low.
Go any way I can.
And that's a really fast, easy way to check how it works. Just go like this.
Go any. Go.
That's how you can hear the delay and the reverb very clearly.
Go.
Or alternatively, if you want to, you can solo these. But ideally, I wouldn't recommend you do that. I would recommend you have like compression and EQ all in one. So that is how it works. That's how I've got my vocal cranking. That's the vocal chain. There's nothing crazy about that. Very, very simple. Any of you can steal it and do whatever you want with it. I hope it helps you guys achieve your goals. Now let's move on to acoustic guitar, because the constant thing that people ask me is like, how is your acoustic so big and sounds great and it's tiny little mini Maiden? Well, I'm about to ruin everyone's expectations of mini Maidens, because it probably works on any guitar. This is what my guitar sounds like without anything.
And she goes like no one can.
Now this is what it sounds like with it. Sounds great. I think I can extend this whole thing so you can hear the... Sounds fine. So basically we're going to follow a couple of the same rules that we did for the vocal. Now, what I do here is I've got my first compressor, which is the smaller... actually, no. I didn't do that for this one. But anyway, I've just got my main compressor that's now cranking here at 27 dB threshold down. My attack is sitting at 23. Release is 129. 2 ratio to 1. Very cruisy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure... No, that is true. This is the one that catches it, because that's where I found that it was hitting.
Like no one.
So you can see in the loudest points of my guitar playing, it's just cleaning that up. It's just very lightly compressing and just reducing that. Now I have my first EQ right afterwards. And what's going to happen there is I've got my low cut, and then I've got a boost at around 150, because that's where I feel like it gets a bit more presence and more like it gets really in your ear. And that, I think that's what people like about my guitar playing. And then I've got a cut around 2K hertz. You can see this third band. Now the cut at 2K hertz is mainly designed because that's where I find my voice sits quite regularly. And so I want to take the guitar away while I'm singing so that it will sound clearer. So sometimes when you're mixing the EQ, you're not mixing just the instrument on its own. You want to mix with other stuff. So I find that if you find that one frequency, I mean, this is more advanced, but like if you find like a frequency is stepping on something, you want to take it out as long as you know where it's happening. So if I find that my voice is like not as clear, and it's because it's that frequency is being like stacked on, the more things you have that are stacking on that frequency, the more cluttered and muddy it's going to be. So if I find my voice sounds better there, then I'm going to take shit away or take stuff away from the lower stuff, from the other instruments that are not as important, because the vocal is always the most important. But when you're mixing just a guitar and a vocal, it's really, really easy. But that's what I found worked well for me. Now, there's another one I have here. It's a high cut. I plug my guitar in through the input of like just like the 1/4 inch input. Now, I don't have a microphone with it. So if you have a microphone with your guitar, don't have this high cut in, because you're going to pick up resonant frequencies. If you have a 1/4 inch jack plugged in, you are not going to pick up resonant frequencies. So that is not a big deal. You do not need to have that. I cut it personally, so you can hear that when I do play this, I'm going to move this, and it's around like 7K hertz. That 1/4 inch jack, there's no more frequencies that are really coming out at that point. It's pretty dead. So you can hear it now. Watch.
Anyway,
Whoops. Let's solo. Sorry, I was solid. So did you hear how that that guitar frequency that I have all the way up at the high part, it didn't really, as soon as I brought it down like from 9 and lower, and then I started getting closer to 7, that's when it started affecting the sound. But then when you went up past like 8 going up, it didn't really affect the sound. That's what's happening with the 1/4 inch jack. So I didn't even know that was a thing until Mads told me, the producer friend. So it's pretty cool. Now, the other thing I have on here is a saturator. This is what creates a little bit more of resonant frequencies and dirties up our guitar. So I just have these settings. You can it's all going to be copy pasted, so you can just like chuck that in and it should work. It adds a little bit of dirtiness.
And she goes like no.
It's just slightly coloring it. So what this is, if you want to know the technical thing that it's doing, is there's a harmonic sequence that exists whenever you hear a sound, and like the different oh man, I can never remember this thing. So if someone in the comments can just like pin it, I'll appreciate it, or say it. But anyway, there's these things called resonant frequencies, I believe, and what this saturator is going to do is create an artificial version of it. And if you're playing a guitar in through a 1/4-inch jack, like a guitar lead, it's just not going to sound as good as like a microphone or like a condenser microphone on your guitar. So it's like, this is our way to try and simulate a little bit of that, but you know, this is a band-aid, you know, get a great microphone. But hey, we're not about that. We're just like, get it done and we gooch. Now this is the next part, which is my actual main compressor. This is the part that's cranking and giving us all the really, really like thick sound of my guitar playing. So we got 2:1 ratio. My threshold set's -37. Obviously, the threshold for all compressors are all going to depend on what the gain level is for your inputs, for your guitar, for your microphone, whatever it is. My attack 17, release 133. Knee is at 6 dB. And then I just crank the output on this, and this is where I don't really crank the output on the guitar itself, but I just crank the output on the compressor. So you'll hear, this is what it sounds like with and without the compressor. So with the compressor.
And she goes like no one can. And she comes
Without.
and she goes
With.
and she's slipping through my hand. She's always buzzing just like.
So it sounds pretty cool. And then we go to, I added another little boost of EQ. I noticed that I did this in my actual chain, so I don't know how much this actually affects it, but I have a little boost at like nearly 6K. And that's because I like to do a lot of fiddly things on the guitar. And so that kind of like makes them shine a little bit more, like that, like this part here. So you can hear the those little like plucks that I pop out. They sound pretty cool. Like I maybe. And then I did another little boost at around 130, just because nothing wrong with a little bit of low bass. But maybe it's because my guitar lacks that much bass. Maybe a bigger guitar would crush it. Ooh, what did I do here? Nah, no way. Did I just like copy paste two things in here?
She comes and she
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, let's ignore whatever that is. No, there's no way I did that. Hold on a sec. Lol, that's funny. All right. Let's remove that. No, let's. Okay, now we are back to the original programming. I added in I added in an extra limiter on my guitar, which it wouldn't have done that much, but it still definitely would have.
and she goes.
Yep. Anyway, let's pretend that never happened, because Luan does dumb things sometimes. Same principles all apply. I was just like, man, it's still quite aggressive. I was like, why is it so aggressive? That limiter that I just had on the bottom, I accidentally added the master chain because when I was testing it. Anyway, stupid Luan things. But yeah, that was just cranking the volume on the guitar more than I prefer.
Comes and she goes.
Oh yeah, that sounds much better into my ear now. So you can see now, I'm going to do this now. You'll hear the compressor even better.
I would take her anyway I can. And she comes and she goes
Yeah. Now, so I was like, man, what's going on? All right. So there you go. You can hear the differences now quite a lot. Oh, there we go. Beautiful.
I would take her anyway I can, and she comes.
Anyway, I mean, I'm just showing you what buttons I pushed anyway. Cool. And now the last one that we have here is going to be our compressor, which is, this is the, you know, the cleanup. It's kind of like a glue compressor that I had, but this is just more just in case there was like anything that was like snapping. I put this just at the end of the guitar playing because sometimes I just do dumb things, or like pulling the guitar lead out by accident. This will stop that. So I like top and tail the guitar chain. And then I do the exact same thing when we come to reverb and delay. I will just crank the effects how I want it, and then I dial it in. So let's say if I pull them all out right now, so you can see I'm doing that now, and we're just going to push play, and then I'm going to dial all my my reverb and delay effects, and I'll go close reverb, long reverb, then I go delay.
I can, and she comes, and she goes like no one can. And she comes, and she goes, and she's slipping through my hand. She's always buzzing just like neon, neon.
And that's it. Now, the last thing that I have on here, this is on the master chain. This is how we get like as close as we can to like mastering, which is a very complicated thing. I don't want you guys to get into it, but this is the thing that overall is going to go over my mix. This goes over every single track because it's on the master track. So every track feeds into the master track. That's how everything works. If you're ever looking at how everything is working, see on the bottom here, this is where I am sending whatever track is coming in is going to the master track. That's why it says master. So if I take this and I move it to anything else, so you see how you couldn't hear me when I was talking? That's because I moved where this audio was going to another track that's not the master. Now, that's not very important. We're not doing anything complicated in our recording process like that. I never ever touch that. So just aware that that's what the master is doing. The master is controlling all of the inputs, that all the tracks that you have are going to the master. Now, this is a thing when you're mixing tracks, you don't want to mix everything as loud as possible. So if I were to do a dumb thing, which is mix everything as loud as possible, this is what it sounds like, me being dumb.
I would take her anyway I can, and she comes.
So you can see I get a lot of volume out of those things, but I will start fighting between different, I mean, on a guitar and an acoustic, like singing an acoustic guitar, you're not going to notice it a lot, but you can simulate that in a really clean environment as there's more sounds coming in, especially if you're looping or you record a band, by putting the boosting sequence of the volume as compressors on top of the master track. And that's what this does. So this is simulating a thing called mastering, where it's like they even out the frequencies of the whole track, and then they also push the loudness as high as they can. So here, there's this utility sequence here. I honestly can't remember what Mads did, but it is a stock plugin, and it is very, very cool. I don't know what it does. It does something cool. Yo, 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 yo. It does like something that like it cuts the audio at a certain point and then does like a little boost. It's really, really cool. I don't know. He explained it to me, and I have to go back and relearn it, but just leave it on there. It sounds cool. There's a little boost of gain here. We have another glue compressor, so if anything goes too crazy, you'll notice that this glue compressor starts engaging to clean things up.
Like no one can.
And obviously,
Who knows?
nothing came in that messed with this. So anytime this one goes on, that's like, hey, we're gonna sort this out for you. And so this is like the strong compressor that protects us. Here's another, oh yeah, this is the tip and tail of the utility effect. And then we've got another compressor, which is going to hop on here. And this is going to like clean up anything to boost the loudness as well. So here, without this compressor, it's still quiet.
Like no one can.
So it's going to boost everything.
She comes and she goes and she.
So just adds another little layer of compression. And then this limiter is, if anything goes too out of hand, this thing will crush it. A limiter is like an insane compressor, and that's designed to stop distortion. So before it goes to distortion, this limiter is going to engage. So say if I want to crank it, let's test it.
I would take her anyway I can.
So you can see how, whoa, that's really loud. So you can see how it hit distortion level just then. And so we can push this until it just starts.
I would take her anyway I can. And she comes and she goes.
So that's pretty much as loud as I can get this. But I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in being loud. I just want to be listenable. And so 4 dB is fine for me. I know nothing is crazy going to smash this. But you can see as soon as that engaged, I was like on the verge of hitting distortion, and it's engaging. And then if I crank it really, really high, then it will smash the distortion button. Now I'm going to quickly go over to this. Can we see this? All right, perfect. Boom, boom. Okay. So I have set up all the presets for you guys. So now if you want these presets, all you're going to do is I will have the link in the lesson notes, and I'll have the link in, like, I'll put it in as pinned comment on YouTube as well for anyone who's just watching on YouTube. But this is mainly for our students in our online school. And what I'm going to do is you will go to the presets, you will click on the presets, you will then download the presets. So say for instance, I'm going to just make a track just so you guys know how it works. So this is an empty track right now down here. So this is an empty vocal track. This is what it sounds like. Empty vocal track sounds like garbage. Oh no. Now I'm going to go to where I had my audio effects. Oh no, that's not it. Whoops. Where is it? Here, I'm going to go download my vocal chain for school. Let's go. Download. Scanning for viruses. I was the one who uploaded it, but I guess it still protects me anyway. Now I... All right, perfect. So I will go here to my... Where's my downloads? Boom. Vocal chain for school. Now what I'm going to do with this vocal chain for school is I'm going to... So what you'll do is go to Ableton, and then you're going to go down to audio. Is it audio effects? No. I need to make sure I have this correct. No, it's not under templates. User library. That's it. Perfect. So user library has presets. I would suggest you download everything. So audio effects rack. And then so under your audio effects rack is where you want to bring it, because this is obviously going to be an audio effects rack that you're going to add. So you're going to add this to your audio effects. Now I'm going to go grab this vocal chain, and I'm going to drag it into audio effects rack. Oh, it says, I'm pretty sure it says I already have one. So I'm just going to replace that. Actually, I'm going to make this as clean as possible for you guys. So here, I'm going to delete this one, move to trash, and we'll go here. Where is my downloads? Bang. Vocal chain for school. Boom. Now I just added, you see it just popped up on the bottom. So now this is my vocal chain. Ready? Ready for this? This is the magic. All right, I'm back on this crappy vocal track that I got. I'm gonna drag this. Boom. And now the whole vocal chain is now on our track. So it is crushing. Now you will do the same thing for when you go to do your reverb. You will just, like ideally what you can do is just, I would just get this folder and then drag the folder in. So you can just, I mean, you can just drag them in one by one, or you can drag in the folder, but basically go to your reverb track, move the short reverb in, go to your long reverb, put your long reverb in, go to your delay chain, guitar chain, mastering, make sure you go to the master chain. And like you want to, with all of these tracks, you know, hold on a sec. I'm trying to delete it all. There you go. So I'm going to delete this. So you want to just click on the track that you want to move everything to. And so you see I have mastering chain for school already. I drag it in. So I'm clicking it and dragging it over the top, and now I've got it. And that's how you just move these presets into whatever you're using. So hopefully that helps y'all. I know it's a bit of a long video, but I mean, this knowledge, you know, took me a long time to figure out. I paid a lot of money to learn from the best, and this is what we came up with that worked for me and helped me get to me where I want to go. So I'm looking forward to your feedback on this, and I hope these presets work for you. You can literally, as you're watching the video, open the presets and load them in, and then hopefully that helps you guys crush it. But I will go into like drums, bass, all those different things that I do. I will just have a bit more time to figure out how I would do it with stock plugins, because I do use other plugins for those. But we will see how we go. And I really appreciate everyone who's been jumping in and giving me feedback from the other videos. I'm looking forward to doing more production content for you guys, and hopefully you guys are recording some epic tracks. All right, I shall catch you guys in the next video. Let's go.